What does that have to do with the fact that computing and everything else are still in their infancy? All right, so after Jensen stated that Blackwell's demand is crazy, there was a brief period of gain and a slight bump before there was a larger bump today. The interview seems to have taken place yesterday. Crazy T, the requirement for computation from these enormous language models is only just starting to emerge. So it's not only training that will eventually stop, or at least slow down, because you've essentially absorbed all the data available. Then there's synthetic data. Even with the significant efficiency gains from each new version of ChatGPT, for instance, the inference and model running still consume a great deal of computing power, but it also makes room for a variety of new features that demand even more processing power. Although I've been a big bull, I'm just stating that many people think it's sufficient. In other words, Supermicro was the S&P's worst performing stock last quarter, while Nvidia, stagnated. Return to the ongoing discussion about data centers, power, and the gating issue that we have here, and with good reason. Today, I saw a Grova downgrading pertaining to power and data centers. You know how I feel about natural gas, and I'm a huge believer in power and data centers. But my point is that while there may still be a need for Nvidia chips and computation, it might be more challenging to build it as fast as possible. So, did you consider the Accenture deal to be significant? Regarding it, I have no opinion. Did you find it significant? It must be more than just hyperscalers. You cannot base your company solely on Elon M. and Mark Zuckerberg. The arrangement appeals to me since it's stated that big businesses that are unsure about how to use it will either go to Dell or HP or Accenture, which will work it out for them. Therefore, it's not just Tesla or Meta that might be interested in purchasing them. However, we did bring up yesterday, when you weren't there, that chip company executives sold over $1.3 billion worth of stock throughout the quarter. Look, they've made a lot of money, and the selling goes on and on. If you were their counsel and they didn't sell, I imagine you would say, look, I should resign because you got so much money in these. People sell for a variety of reasons. That's the only reason I can think of for it. Otherwise, why not leave it go? However, these individuals have made enormous gains, and they may be stating, look, if one of the two individuals elected has a Democratic House and Senate, capital gains rates may be increasing. Capital gains may increase significantly. Okay, people, are you observing Nvidia? At this point, it keeps up a kind of almost covert maneuver. Morgan Stanley gave it a boost this morning, stating that it anticipates Blackwell's production to exceed 450,000 chips. Do you understand what that means? In the fourth quarter, that amounts to $1 billion. That's fantastic news, of course, and terrific news for my upcoming guest. I will introduce John Belton, Portfolio Manager for Gabelli Growth Funds. Welcome to the show, John. I appreciate you having me. I take it you have a lot of Nvidia? Right now, this is one of your best concepts. Yes, it's one of our largest holdings across all of Gabelli's growth funds. The Wall Street story, which has been the play's plot for the past few years, is gone. Not always. We see the orders, which are obviously mind-blowing, but we also realize that this is a toppish thing. It can't go on forever. The stock is outperforming itself. To what extent does that worry you? Let's just review what CEO Jensen Huang stated on CNBC this week. He claimed that there is an absurd demand for their chips at the moment. The word insane is quite strong. Yes, I have heard the word insane in an ad before, but I've never heard of the network you're referring to. Before you were born, I enjoyed doing this. The owner of this store, Crazy Eddie, would frequently appear on television and declare, "Our prices are insane." They went out of business after that. It was a complete hoax. Therefore, I believe he is referring to a distinct kind of mad. All right, is he overdoing it? We could discuss Nvidia, I believe that AI is still in its infancy. AI, in my opinion, is a technology that will have profound and enduring effects for many years to come, and Nvidia will be among the main winners of that. However, I believe taking a step back, I was listening to one of your previous guests discuss the Magnificent Seven and how they were a little out of date at that rally. In fact, I believe I would defend several of those equities, including Nvidia. Perhaps we can name it the six-pack and take Tesla out of the discussion. I believe that these companies have produced more of the index's earnings growth than the index's performance thus far. They have excellent capital allocation strategies that are beneficial to shareholders, high sales growth, and margins that are currently growing. Therefore, I believe that these equities' year-to-date success is justified by the fundamentals. I agree with you, by the way. It's fantastic in my opinion. Oh, the 493 are going to have pretty strong earnings growth at the end of the year, everyone says, but an even more complex and higher level of growth is likely to be experienced by the MA7. According to my understanding, the Magnificent Seven have been exceeding expectations in terms of earnings. Compared to the beginning of the year, the S&P 493 has actually underperformed, with AMD and Nvidia excelling today. Over the past month, they have been among the top stocks in the S&P 500. AI events are also planned for early next week at both. Could that then be the next reason for these names to appear? Ben Reitzis, Chief of Research at Melia Tech, is now joining us. Happy Friday, Ben. This week, we spoke with Nvidia. In fact, we have discussed Nvidia extensively. Where does the existing enormous chip opportunity across Nvidia? Next up are AMD and Intel, both of which have been struggling lately. Right there, you're referring to Nvidia and AMD, two of my favorite brands. Nvidia seems like a fantastic company. Congratulations really on your fantastic interview the other night in which he used the word insane. I adore that. You can infer what you need to know from it. Everyone wants it, and our checks on Blackwell are excellent. That should lead to some notable sequential increase in January and April. After a quarter or two, we believe the gross margin will start to rise significantly due to Blackwell, which will boost the stock once more. We feel very nice there, you know. We are aware that some others on your network have also expressed some concerns, but demand is incredibly strong. Additionally, keep in mind that OpenAI just released a number of products, none of which we have yet to use for inference. Additionally, Apple is releasing Apple Intelligence, which should power part of the OpenAI. We are happy there, and AMD is hosting a significant event the next week. There is space for a number 2 there, but we don't think they're bringing us out there to lay an egg. We believe that last year's event was a huge success. Thus, we are also pleased with AMD. This is now the beginning of a new wave called Enterprise AI, and then after that, as we enter into Enterprise AI, we're simultaneously developing and cultivating the wave after that, which is Industrial AI, said Jensen Huang, who was with us just a few days ago. Jensen is referring to Industrial Artificial Intelligence. Additionally, we have Apple Intelligence and possibly a consumer AI wave driven by applications that is more investable. All of it, I believe, is investable. I believe that a lot of things start with the customer and then generate a lot of interest in the business. And similar to what transpired during the ChatGPT craze, several businesses realized what was going on. As investors and consumers begin to use Apple's and Google's visual intelligence, as well as those types of apps where you see objects on your phone and then ask questions about them, I believe that will raise awareness of AI in general. Additionally, I believe that a growing number of businesses will want to work with small language models in order to tailor it to their respective sectors. Additionally, I believe that the NVIDIA NIMS architecture will be adopted more frequently, which will further encourage enterprise adoption. And we're just getting started. The interest in autonomous AI agents hasn't even begun to grow, and that will be a significant development. Benioff has been talking to you about it a lot. In fact, I believe Microsoft will push that more than a SaaS provider. John, we're still in the early stages of a lot of things. I'm rather thrilled.